Look, I'm going to tell you something that maybe you don't want to hear, but that needs to be said. And it's not that shallow relationship coach talk that you see around. It's about a truth that messes with the ego, that bothers you, but that can completely change the way you see relationships. Women come back after you disappear, but not for the romantic reason you imagine. It's not because they had a magical epiphany and realized you were the love of their life. The reality is much more raw, more strategic. And if you understand this properly, you'll never again lose your value in a relationship. Most men live a dangerous illusion. When she comes back after a period of silence, after you stop chasing her, they believe it was regret that hit, that she finally saw who you really were. But the truth, my friend, is that the human brain works in a much more selfish way than we like to admit. And when you understand this game, you leave the victim position and start controlling your own life. Let me explain something fundamental about the human mind. We only value what is scarce. Think about it. When you have something guaranteed available all the time, you stop paying attention. It becomes common. It becomes automatic. But the second that something disappears, your brain lights up a red alert. Suddenly, what you ignored becomes the only thing you can think about. And that's exactly what happens when you disappear from her life, while you were there, texting every day, available, trying to please. You were predictable. You were the guy she knew she could count on at any time. There was no mystery, no challenge. But when you truly distance yourself, when you stop feeding that dynamic, something changes in her head. You cease to be that man who is always there begging for attention. Now you are an enigma. You are something she no longer has guaranteed, and her brain hates losing what was once certain. And here comes the part that many people don't want to accept. It's not about love, at least not most of the time. Many women come back because curiosity got the better of them, because their ego is hurt, because they want to be sure that they can still have you back. This doesn't mean they are ready for a real relationship or that they have changed their attitude. It only means that the void you created is bothering her, and this discomfort generates a need to fill that space. If you are a man who understands this, you won't make the classic mistake of opening your arms and accepting her back without questioning anything. I'm not talking about revenge. I'm not talking about childish games. I'm talking about building respect. I'm talking about you regaining your power as a man. Because when you apply silence, when you distance yourself, you're not manipulating anyone. You're repositioning yourself. You're leaving the position of need and entering the position of choice. This video will show you exactly why this works. What are the psychological triggers that make it come back? And most importantly, what you should do when it appears again. Because if you don't know how to deal with this return, you can end up worse than you were before. You can fall into the same trap and lose everything again. So get ready. Let's debunk myths, challenge beliefs you've carried for years, and give you real tools to become a man who never again loses control of his own life. A man who doesn't need to beg for attention. A man who knows his own worth. When you truly disappear, you create something that deeply affects her mind, a psychological void. And this void is one of the most powerful forces that exist in human relationships. Most men don't understand the real power of disappearing because they think it's just a tactic to make her react. But what happens goes far beyond that. It's something that affects her emotional structure in a way that she herself can't control. The human brain is programmed to detect losses. It works like that with everyone. When you have something guaranteed, you relax, you don't pay attention. But when it disappears, when you lose access, your mind goes into alert mode. Suddenly, what you ignored becomes an obsession. And that's exactly what happens to her when you apply true silence. She no longer receives your messages, she no longer gets your calls, she no longer sees you trying to win her back. And this emptiness hits her emotionally hard. This is where most men make a big mistake. They think that if they don't reach out, she'll forget them, that they'll disappear from their life as if they never existed. But the truth is the complete opposite. The more you disappear, the more the value she sees in you increases. You cease to be that